everybody, and welcome back to the Blu-ray Hunter. I'm the Blu-ray Hunter, Jonathan Moody, and here we go. We're gonna be doing my thoughts on, and this one I'm gonna be doing my thoughts on Hollywood. So if you know me at all, and I'm sure you do, I'm a huge Hollywood fan. Like I love Hollywood movies. If you can look behind me, you see all the pictures of all those movies. None of them, except for Chasing Amy, is independent. And even, yeah, it was still produced by Miramax, but that's an independent company. So, but aside from that, all of them are Hollywood movies, and I absolutely adore Hollywood. I didn't actually seek out to be an independent filmmaker. Like that wasn't my original intent. My original intent was to write movies for Hollywood. It's harder to do that. It's easier to sort of go out and make your own movie or create your own studio or do your own thing than it is to go, hey, hire me as a writer, a person you've never met, and everything like that. Like take a chance on an unknown guy. So, with that being said, Hollywood is like that. Hollywood does not like the unknown. They're afraid of the unknown. Unknown can lead to bombs. And you know, nobody knows what's going to be a hit. I think there was a great line from, you know, what is it? From William Goldman, like nobody knows nothing. And it was talking about like people who think that they know stuff about the film industry. They really don't. They don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. But it was nothing or anything. Nobody knows anything. Because the truth is, what you think is going to be a hit could very well be a bomb. I'll give you an example. I am really looking forward to Deadpool, Deadpool and Wolverine. I am excited about that. I've already bought my ticket for it. I'm so stoked. I can't wait to see it. It is something that I've been like the only thing in right now that I've been dying to see. Um, one of my friends was pointing out Furiosa, and look, if you're a Mad Max fan and that's all that's what you like, and the Planet of the Apes movies, all that stuff. Mission Impossible when those come out, Top Gun when those come out. Those are movies that are absolutely live and breathe Hollywood. Those are just Hollywood films. Absolutely some of the best stuff possible. So when I'm watching I'm watching what is it, the movies and whatnot. Generally speaking, I'm watching Hollywood stuff. I'm watching, unless I'm doing reviews and I'm interviewing somebody about their film. Normally, I don't watch indie films. Sometimes I do for fun, but or to see if I'm going to put them on Indie Film Cafe. But really, it's Hollywood stuff, and that's just because that's just what I gravitate toward. And so Hollywood, unfortunately, has been sort of like my big thing is I don't like to go to the theater as much anymore. I like to watch things at home. I have a pretty good sized TV in my room, and I've got a even bigger sized TV in my living room with like Dolby Digital surround sound. Why would I need to go to the theater if I have a theater at home? Well, generally speaking, it's a different environment, even bigger theater, like even bigger stuff, even better sound. Yes, I get it. But then you get the whole people around, some people don't shut up, some people have bring their babies in to rated R movies. Like it's just ridiculous. I'll give you an example. I was at Child's Play, like not the original movies or whatever, but the remake. And I'm not sure if it was rated R or PG-13. I think it was rated R. All these kids came in with their like chauffeur or whatever, their chauffeurs. The people are hanging out with them and everything. And they brought them in to see a horror film. These I swear to God, like 10-year-old kids. Now, originally I was like, oh, me and my brother were thinking about just leaving, because why would we stay around and watch that? But then they kind of made it more fun because they were like, crying and laughing and going, don't go there. They were into the movie way more than we were actually. So we had more fun watching them watch the movie than us actually watching the movie. So that's only one in a million chance that's gonna happen. That usually doesn't happen. It's usually some person on their phone or whatever it is. And look, I've been on my phone. But generally, when I go to the movies, I am not on my phone. I try not to be on my phone because, A, it's distracting to others because the light pops up and people can see that, or it is just, if whatever happens, nobody wants to hear somebody's phone going off or somebody talking on a phone, during the movie. Like that happens at sometimes, some places. And like the worse theater that you go to, the better chance that's going to happen. So that's why I like to go to matinees if I go. 'Cause there's less people and less chance of, and I get it. Like the other reason of going to the theater is seeing all the people there and just enjoying the atmosphere. It's not like I'm an ambivert, and I truly believe that. I think I thrive on going out, but for like a little bit of time, and I don't feel comfortable around people I don't know. So if I'm in a crowded theater, I feel very uncomfortable because, say I have to go to the bathroom, I have to literally ask people to put their feet up so I can go and you know, I just get anxiety around people. Whatever. It is what it is for me. Um, why am I bringing this? What does this have to do with Hollywood? Everything. Because like Hollywood, this is Hollywood. This is what they they want us to be in the theater. They want our $17, $13, sometimes $20, depending on which theater you're at and what state you're in. When I was in LA, it was more expensive. I didn't even go to the theaters much because it was more expensive to go to the theaters than it was to go anywhere else. So I just didn't do that. I um I had fun at theaters. Like um I enjoyed being uh at the theaters, but I enjoy being there for Hollywood. Like I said, Deadpool, I Marvel has been hit or miss with me, mainly miss. Black Widow might have been like that and like the Spider-Man one and whatnot might have been my favorites. I did like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness at times, but that's because Sam Raimi is the bomb and Bruce Campbell is in that. I mean, how cool is that? Thor: Love and Thunder hated. When I first watched it, I was like, yeah, it's okay. But then more I thought about it, I was like, the only things I liked were those goats, those screaming goats. And that wore thin after a little bit. But at first I was just like, that's fun. Um, but they did kind of ruin those in the, you know, trailer. Um, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever I mean, had some really good scenes and I really did like the setup, for it and whatnot, but it's just whatever. And then on top of that, you have the Disney Plus stuff you watch at home. And then the movies eventually go to Disney Plus. So why even stay at the theater these days, right? Like the movie's gonna go to Disney Plus eventually. Um, things are gonna have to change with streaming. I mean, they can't spend $20 a month or charge that much, and then people, like it's just really bad right now with streaming. We've got to figure out a way to make it like accessible and better and and whatnot. And right now they are screwing themselves over with these things because a lot of people, I skipped the Marvels because I heard so many bad things about it until I watched it on Disney Plus. Not that eh, it wasn't anything. It wasn't as bad as like I felt hearing it was bad. I thought it wasn't good. Um, Ms. Marvel was like the only bright side of that whole thing. Like everybody else, all the other characters, the villain was superficial and boring, you know. Everything else was super boring on it. So I don't know. I I didn't, like I said, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I was kind of bored with it. So Hollywood has sort of been doing this thing where they're just making $200 million movies, hoping they'll get them billions of dollars. And my thought is like when they okay, so take Blumhouse for example. They made an independent film with Paranormal Activity, something that cost, I think, I don't know, it was $20,000 to shoot it, and then, to put it out was like maybe 100,000, extra. $100,000. Even say it even was $1 million. That thing grossed like over $100 million, and everything. And that was not expected. Like I think they didn't even think that that would happen because it just was unheard of. And then the studio kind of grew and grew, and they got bolder with some chances, and then they were very relaxed with some chances. You know, um, I've heard Jason Blum talk about, his different thoughts on it, and everything. So, but how he handles everything, and dude, I mad respect to Jason Blum. Mad respect to anybody who runs a production company or a studio or any of these things because it is not easy. Um, but a lot of these guys, man, they're just so scared to take chances. They're so scared to do original material because there's no demographic there. There's no chance that this will make it. So people have explained to me, and I'm explaining this to people who may not know. What happens is they'll think, like, taking for instance, Charlie's Angels, right? Say there was a movie that was about a bunch of women who were spy people, right? And it wasn't Charlie's Angels. It was just a new spy movie, right? Whatever. And then they had Charlie's Angels that already had a built-in audience, that people already knew what Charlie's Angels was and they wanted to see it. Sadly, they didn't, and I did buy it on Blu-ray, but you'll see it up on one of my videos, one of my haul videos, not haul pickup videos. Um, so you know, so the interesting thing is that like you see that, you see the Charlie's Angels or the original thing. They're not going to pick the original thing. Like, let's just face it, they have no interest in the original thing because they don't know if the original thing will make them money. They know for a fact that there is a built-in audience for Charlie's Angels, and that if the movie's marketed well enough and people are interested well enough, and everything, they'll want to see it. Um, so they don't take any chances. And uh, sometimes people come along that are going to be taking chances that the studios just give them carte blanche. There's Tarantino's, there's Martin Scorsese who still has to fight to get it, but he still gets it because he's Martin Scorsese. He's got a track record. He's made multiple movies that people know and everything. They don't like to take chances on unknowns. People don't have track records. Now, everybody does have to start somewhere, but generally speaking, they start maybe independently or they produce their own films, and then, they kind of work their way up and eventually, like, you know, um, Marvel likes to cast directors who have done different films in the past that got them noticed, a lot of horror and other stuff. So the guy who made the Spider-Man movies, I believe he did like a movie called Cop Car. So like all these people do all these different films, and then they go off and they get a chance to, the guys who did Endgame and whatnot, they worked on like Community and other stuff, and television and everything. And even though television and film aren't the same format, they sort of they have similar stuff. So yes. My what my takeaway here is if you are an independent filmmaker, keep independently making your films. If you're really good, you'll get into like a festival or a something else and you will go far. It hasn't happened to me yet, but I haven't really focused on that as much. I've been focusing more on my writing. So don't look at me like, oh man, it didn't happen. Of course it didn't happen to me. It doesn't happen to everybody, you know. Like John Watts, the guy who did Spider-Man movies, that's that's a dime a dozen kind of thing. Like that's like there's chance, maybe it's not a dime a dozen, but it's like a chance that he's gonna get. There's one in a billion chance, and he's gonna get there, and he does, and he gets there, and he makes the Spider-Man movies, and they are awesome. Scott Derrickson, who did the first Doctor Strange, he worked with Blumhouse before, and he also did some other horror films and whatnot. I think Exorcism of Emily Rose, maybe something big, like that. So he was there making movies and doing stuff. And then he showed he could make a good movie and that movie could make a profit. That's what they want to see is like, can he make a good movie and can he also make a profit for us? So once they see that, they're like, cha-ching, let's get that guy, that director right there, James Wan is always on the lookout for guys to bring in to his production company, Atomic Monster Productions, and he will constantly find people. He finds them through short films. He finds them through features. He finds whatever, but you have to make these things and they have to be good. You can't just make a crap movie and then put it out in the festivals and then hope that James Wan's gonna look at it and say, well, that was the greatest movie of all time. I know it's crap, but it was the greatest movie of all time. That's just not going to happen. Your stuff has to be original, it has to be different, it has to be cool. That's that's just the truth, you know. Tarantino, when he first did Reservoir Dogs, this movie right here, he made a movie that nobody else was making. He was making a crime drama that was a low budget crime drama, mainly focused in like 4 or 5 locations. There wasn't, minimal locations. And he made that for I think over $1 million. When the time came and done, Harvey Keitel helped get the things going and it made a lot more money and people trust him. Then he made Pulp Fiction that blew up. Then he made Jackie Brown that blew up. Everything he did turned to gold. And then all of a sudden, he could do whatever he wanted. I think he wasn't happy necessarily with Death Proof, but that was just a fun little exercise. So I don't really even, that doesn't even count in his like top, in his 10 movies that he's doing, I don't think. That was just a little exercise that he was doing with Robert Rodriguez. Very cool. Robert Rodriguez, another director, started from El Mariachi and then moved, did Desperado. And if you read his book, Rebel Without a Crew, it's a journal. Like it journals everything that happened, how it started and how it went. And his story is not going to be your story. It's not going to be my story. I'm not going to be able to mimic what he did because you can't mimic what he did. What he did was just something that just happened, you know. So, anyway, the point is Hollywood is always looking for those directors, those writers, and everything. But probably for things that a lot more stuff like, like Spider-Man for John Watts, um, Robert Rodriguez was directing Star Wars stuff. I mean, they want like things that people were more familiar with. They don't want a lot of original content because the other idea that I heard was that okay, so studio guy. Let's take the example of Charlie's Angels and the other spy movie. So he's like, I'm gonna take a chance on this other spy movie, right? Other spy movie bombs in the box office, right? He may not get another chance to prove like he's picked a good movie. So then he gets fired. And once you're fired, I mean, it's hard to get to the next thing. I mean, so many times you don't hear from studio heads who've gotten fired. You know, they haven't moved on to like another company or they haven't started their own. It's like once you're fired from that company, it's bad. And they don't want that. They want to go on and continue to make these movies. So, my thing with Hollywood, and I may be a little crazy on it, but I am wanting Hollywood to change. Because eventually either they're going to have to change or they're going to die. And I don't want them to die. And I'm not talking about any of the other crap that people are talking about that I don't even want to say it because I just don't want, people attacking me on this. I don't care about that. What I care about is people telling a good story, something original, something different, something that, piques my imagination, piques my curiosity, makes me interested, makes me hunger for more stuff. There is content out there. A24 is doing a lot of it. I actually really can't wait to uh, see Maxine. I love that stuff. Like I love original content like that. So the independent studios sort of are doing it, and A24 is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger by the day. So one day it will be Hollywood, and maybe they'll start playing by the Hollywood rules. Because once you become part of that society and part of that thing, you're scared to lose that money. You've made lots and lots of money. You do not want to lose it. But what they are doing is amazing because they're buying movies that are not that expensive of the budget. Like the budget's maybe $5 to $10 million. You buy that movie, and then you can gross $100 million. You've made, $90 million profit. How fucking awesome is that? That is what they want. They want more and more money. They don't want to lose money. And if you're making a movie yourself, you don't want to tell the people the truth, which is the truth when you're investing in a low budget independent films, you probably won't get your money back. You probably won't make a profit. You hope to, and you can tell them ways that you think you're going to, but you're also going to have to give them the risk factors of like, well, you may not. I mean, some movies don't get their money back for like years, for like 10 to 20 years. And it sucks, but and a lot of time that means you're probably not going to work with that investor again. You're gonna have to find new investors who will do that and who will wait another 10 years for their profit to rise. So anyway, my thing is if Hollywood wants to change, if Hollywood wants to do better, they have to make at least half of their movies with a less budget, $5 to $10 million. Um, and then the other budgets, you can still have your blockbusters in the summer because every studio should have at least, I want to say at least six blockbusters in the summer, two in June, two in July, and two in August. And then the rest of the time, they can maybe say they're making 20 films, 10 of them be the blockbuster movies that they think are going to be big, put them in a certain time. Uh, it's funny because what is it? Disney has a certain way of doing it. Put them in like, was it November? No, why did I say November? February, May, July, and November. So November isn't there. But it starts with February all the way to November. And those are four different time slots that do just very well. They're blockbuster times. February because I guess because it's cold and people want to go out and watch a movie. May because it's starting to become summer, like right now, and everything is starting to feel a little like it's still spring, but it's feeling like summer. July because it is summer, and that is when the summer blockbusters really start having. So it's June and July. And then November because like it's right after Halloween. It's when people are they're gonna start coming together soon and get together. So, but if they took those times and those things and made also like 10 million dollar budgets instead of $100 million budgets, they would be they would be making so much more money because the thing is, they wouldn't be getting these powerhouse actors unless the actors are willing to take cuts on their money, which they probably do that for profit cuts or something. But most of the time, they won't do that. Um, they would have to rely on lesser, like up and coming actors. And I remember back in the day, and like well, I mean, not in, back in my day. My day was the 80s and 90s, so it wasn't. We didn't really have that. But like in the 50s and 60s and everything, there were stars, and then there were like up and coming stars, and there were people, and maybe in the 80s and 90s, and even today, there are up and coming stars. People who are not going to cost, $20 million to get. No Tom Cruises who will cost 25 million plus, the profit sales for the movie, and things like that. There's some actors out there that will, that are sort of new enough where they are they're a hot commodity, but they're not that hot. So yeah. Um, Wow, this has probably been my longest one because I have so much that I could say about it, and maybe I shouldn't say. I don't know. I love Hollywood. I moved to LA, but not just because I wanted to work in Hollywood, because I mean that's true, but because I moved to LA back in 2020, worst year to possibly move, because I wanted to be there. Like I remember in the October of 2019, I came off the plane to check it out. And I was in the plane for LAX. I came out of the airport, and just the the weather, everything just made me feel super duper great. I absolutely loved it. I have not had that feeling since. Even when I moved there, I didn't get that feeling again. It was just that one time, I guess, but it was enough to like, it just exhilarated me. And then it's like I was sitting outside Priscilla's in Burbank, which is a fantastic cafe. If you have never been there, please go check it out. I don't work there or have anything to do with their, I'm not advertising, just saying that they're really good. Um, I was sitting out there and I could just feel the creativity of Hollywood just surge. There were probably people that were typing on their like writers, or showrunners or whoever out there doing stuff on their laptop. I was doing stuff on my laptop. I just could feel the energy, and I loved it. I got to see all the spots. Like when I lived in Van Nuys, I lived like right up the street from where the Karate Kid house was. I drove up there. It took like 10 to 15 minutes to drive up there and take a picture outside of it. It's like I'm in Reseda, Like it's just, to me it was amazing. Um and I people are like, "Well, why don't you go to Atlanta?" I'm like, "Atlanta doesn't have that." Like it's great. Like that will probably give me more work. But that's not why I want to live there. Like necessarily. I want to live there for the work and for the enjoyment of being in a place that I grew up loving. I grew up loving, as you can see, you can sort of see stuff, but you can see like Princess Bride behind me, Jaws behind me, Scream behind me. Scream is shot in California, and I don't know where Princess Bride was shot. I don't think so. Ed Wood is about Hollywood. That's my favorite movie of all time. I Karate Kid was California. Like all these movies are California movies because, and there were areas that I wanted to go see. There's still some I want to go check out. I got to see the Bushes for Halloween, in Pasadena. Like I loved it. I absolutely love Hollywood. And that is why I wanted to talk about. This is why I wanted to make my thoughts on. I'm not gonna say, look, Hollywood is is going broke because of certain situations that are happening right now, that more political situations and stuff. Maybe some of it's that way. I mean, people are kind of sick of politics being heavily brought in, but like I love this sentiment behind it. I love female empowerment. So women who are kick ass and doing everything. And I love getting people who have never directed anything in their life women who've never directed anything like directing a short film or feature film, whatever. I love that shit. Like I absolutely do. Like, um, it's just I just want Hollywood to be back on track. And I guarantee you, if they did half of their like of their whatever slate, and half of it was, you know, was it if half of it every year was like lower budgeted stuff, and they can, I was watching these things on studios, and some of the stuff like, Fox had like Fox Searchlight, right? They still do, I think. It still exists, just Disney owns it now. Um, Fox had Fox Searchlight. Fox Searchlight was awesome because that was more independent, more smaller films, more whatever. They also had the family ones, which were smaller, independent, or not independent, but more smaller studio films. They need to do that with these companies. Warner Brothers needs to create like Warner Brothers, you know, is family thing, but like have it be like smaller family films, or whatever. Those do very well. Family does, especially when you want people to watch these DC movies, these Marvel movies. They want family movies, right? Obviously, they want to go see them, but you can't have them be like. They definitely cannot be like 100,000 or $100 million. No $100 million movies because that no 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 no. But if they're like, 10 to 20, $20 million, maybe even 30 to the point, but still think $20 million should be a cap off for these kind of things, then that's it. So, anyway, I know I'm talking a lot of stuff, and I'm not saying that Hollywood's doing anything wrong. I'm just saying that we've been noticing, like the audience has been noticing that a lot of these films have been tanking in the box office. They're not doing as well as they would like them to do. And the movies that are doing very well are like a lot of Blumhouse movies are always doing very well, and people are going to see them in the theater and or they're seeing them on streaming, but mainly in the theater. And that is amazing to me when movies like do that. I just haven't really been to the movies much. I think I went once this year, once, and I don't Frozen Empire, but is that it? Maybe that's the only movie I've seen this year so far. So Frozen Empire and Deadpool are gonna be like, I mean, I don't want to spend, even if I bought like the $18 a month, thing, and I got to see from Regal the pass, and I got to see as many movies. I don't think I'd go. I just I'm a homebody now. Like I think a lot of people are. I think we're I think that's the problem. Is like the streaming and the technology that's being so advanced right now is just making people not want to go anywhere. Like it's hard to get people to go places. It's hard for me to just get up and go, you know? Um, so I'll just say that I love you guys in Hollywood. I do want to watch more movies from you guys. It's just I gotta really I don't know. There's got to be something that's being done about it. Like either everything's cheaper, but still made well and still, produced well, but cheaper. And I think that might be the way to kind of save Hollywood right now. Some people might be like, don't save Hollywood. And I disagree with them because once again, Hollywood's what got me into, you know, movies. As I said, Princess Bride, freaking Ghostbusters. Ed Wood. These are the movies that I watched and I was like, I'm like in heaven. Like this is what a movie's like, you know? And these wouldn't be made without being Hollywood. So, anywho, hope you guys enjoyed my long ass rant. This is the longest I've ever done my thoughts on. They're usually only like 10 minutes long, but I had a lot to say, I guess. And I'm going to continue to say more, probably in another video at some point. Probably not next week, but I'll probably skip and do something else next week. But man, I really enjoyed talking about this because I just enjoy Hollywood. And I enjoy my experiences with it and my thoughts on it. And I just hope that Hollywood changes in some way, at least for the better. So with that, I will leave you guys and hope you guys have a good one. Bye.